All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be going over the 5 top essential skills that one needs for a successful magical practice. So, let's get into it. Okay, so we've been doing this a while, and we have a lot of people who are new to magic just getting into it by way of this channel coming in all the time. And because of that, I'm often asked, what is it that I need to do to get good at magic? What are the skills that I need to develop? And so I went ahead and made a list of what I believe to be the top 5 essential skills that one should acquire and practice, and by doing so, will only improve your magical abilities. We don't want to waste any time, so we'll begin with number 5. Hypnosis, or more specifically, self-hypnosis. So why is self-hypnosis considered an essential skill in magic? Because much of magic has to do with the subconscious mind, including manifestation. And self-hypnosis is quite simply the ability to reprogram your subconscious mind. Now, almost everyone begins their magical pursuit with trying to manifest things. But eventually, you're going to want to use your magical knowledge for self-development. The true aim of any magician is to be the best version of themselves they can possibly be, so that they can carry out the great work. And in order to become the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, you're going to end up having to face a lot of your demons, vices, and destructive habits. And there's no better skill in your arsenal for conquering these than self-hypnosis. Because remember, a habit is something that has been ingrained into your subconscious to the point of becoming programming. And hypnosis is the most effective way of changing that programming. Everything begins in the mind. And so if you change your mind, you change your life. Most people are focused on manifesting things into the physical. They don't realize that if they just change themselves, their own mind, then everything around them will change as well. And changing the mind includes the subconscious programming that we all have. And that is why self-hypnosis is one of the top essential skills. Number 4, Gnosis. If you look up the word Gnosis, it is described as a knowledge of spiritual mysteries. And that's why an agnostic is someone who doesn't claim to know the nature of God and the spiritual mysteries. But in magic, Gnosis is something different. It's the ability to bypass the conscious mind in order to get into the subconscious. There's this tiny window in between consciousness and the subconscious, or instinct. And this moment is needed in order to bypass the conscious mind to get your instruction into the subconscious. The conscious mind acts as a filter and prevents you from altering their subconscious programming. This is a safeguard. Now, just as hypnosis is a skill that we can develop to alter our subconscious programming, achieving a state of gnosis is also. Luckily for everyone, there are some certain tricks that one can use to achieve a state of gnosis without having to practice and master a difficult skill. Now, we're not going to get into those here, but I do cover them in the Laws of Magic 2.0 for those who are interested. In fact, the very next lesson on September 10th, today is the 9th that I'm recording this, is on Gnosis. So if you want to know how to achieve Gnosis very easily, be sure to check that out. But whether you're able to achieve Gnosis by developing the skill or by using shortcut tricks, it will always be a vital part of your magical practice. Number 3, focus and concentration. The ability to focus on a singular point to the exclusion of everything else is a difficult yet essential skill to develop. This is one of those skills that people are either really good at naturally or they're lousy at it. And people who are good at this one are usually terrible at the next one, or vice versa, but not usually good at both. Focus and concentration is extremely important because where the mind goes, energy flows. And so if you want to affect something, you have to give it your unwavering attention. If you are distracted and there are many things in your mind at once, then the energy that you are trying to affect your magical target with is also going to be split amongst those many things. The more focus and concentration you are able to hold upon a thing, the more force and intensity you are going to deliver to that thing. Where attention goes, energy flows. I've used this example before, I'll use it again, that when your mind is split amongst many things, it's like a garden hose that has had many Y splitters put upon it, to where the original end of the hose is merely a trickle instead of being full force. And this is why focus and concentration is an essential skill to learn and practice. Which brings us to number 2, visualization. Much of your focus and concentration is going to be upon visualizations. The issue is usually those who are good at visualizations are not very good at focus and concentration, and vice versa. Now, there are exceptions, and one can practice to become better at both, but typically people are not equally skilled in both. Visualization is the ability to construct and see things within your mind's eye. Why is it so important? Because it's a way to affect and direct energy to something without having to physically see or be with that something. The language of the subconscious is symbolism, and by visualization we are able to construct a symbolic representation of that which we want to affect or send energy to without having to be physically with the real thing or person. And the more clearly you can visualize something, the better. Now, I've had more than a few people tell me that they have no ability to visualize at all. And unfortunately, that is going to be an obstacle in performing magic. It is an essential skill. Now, you may be able to find a workaround with sigil magic and some Gnosis tricks, but any other type of magic is probably going to be very difficult for you if you are someone who cannot visualize. And if this is something that you're having problems with, I recommend looking up on how to decalcify the third eye, as well as start keeping a dream journal. And you may say, well, I can't visualize, so therefore I don't dream. But keeping a dream journal may be able to get you to start dreaming. Many people don't remember their dreams until they start keeping a journal of them. And then little by little, they start remembering more and more. So if you're someone who has difficulty with visualization, I would thoroughly recommend keeping a dream journal to help get you started. And the number 1 skill essential for magical practice is meditation, without a doubt. Now, there are many types of meditation. Focusing and concentrating on a single thing could be considered a meditation. So could visualizing something. That could be considered a meditation. But the type of meditation that we're talking about here is clearing your entire mind of all thought and being able to reside in perfect stillness without any distracting thoughts whatsoever. Being able to clear the mind entirely. And this is very difficult to do. It requires practice. And when you first start practicing, you're going to realize just how much chatter is underneath the surface of your conscious mind. You'll be trying to block everything out, and in the background there'll just be all this chatter and nonsense. And you don't want to resist it, you want to observe it, so you could fully understand just how much is underneath the surface of your conscious mind that you have no conscious control over. Yet, as you develop the skill, you will be able to isolate and eliminate those chattery voices, those wandering thoughts that have absolutely nothing to do with anything. And once you are able to successfully meditate in perfect stillness, that's when you'll be able to listen and hear the divine speak to you and access divine knowledge, which is usually inaccessible with a bunch of chatter and interference in your head. So you can kind of think of meditation as tuning a radio to a specific frequency to be able to access the divine. If a radio frequency is not exact, you'll get a bunch of noise and interference and won't be able to really hear the station that you're trying to tune in. Well, it's kind of like that. You know, it's said that the divine only speaks to you when you're ready to listen. And this is how you're ready to listen. By practicing and eventually mastering meditation. For those just starting out, it can be quite difficult. 5 minutes can be unbearable. But start at 5 and work your way up. Work your way up to 10, then 15. Next thing you know, you're doing a half hour. Everyone needs to start somewhere. So those are my top 5 essential skills needed for magic. And if you're wanting to learn more about having a successful magical practice, consider taking my Laws of Magic course. It has just started over in what will be its 12th and final form. And it's still available for 10% off. Remember, I limited the number of these to 250. There's still some available, so you want to use them before you lose them. And that will about do it for today. I want to thank you all for joining me. Remember to check out the Teespring store with all the masks and shirts that we have available, with more on the way. I invite you to join me at all the usual places: Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, Subscribestar. I appreciate all the love and support that you have given. This is Frater Xavier from Mind and Magic. I'll see you soon. Take care.